Prosser. Paul is graduating from our Masters of Sustainable Solutions program. He came to the program with a Bachelor's of Architecture from Kansas State University and over 30 years experience in the field of architecture, building codes, and construction. Paul is the founder and president of Prosser Architects. During his time as a student, he was actively engaged in both his on-campus and off-campus community. He also studied sustainable neighborhoods for happiness in Guatemala as a Rob and Melanie Walton Sustainability Solutions Scholar. His culminating experience, titled Chapter House, A Vision for a Sustainable Future, focused on traditional ecological knowledge and sustainable design on the Navajo Nation. We congratulate Paul on his success at ASU and invite him to share his thoughts and insights.
But good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming. First things first, I wanted to thank the Julianne Wrigley Global Institute of Sustainability and the School of Sustainability, better known to us students as SOS, for the amazing experience we're now just ending. And more than a place or a school, SOS is an emotional experience that blends faculty and students with diverse backgrounds into a family. And that's not to say we should ignore non-SOS friends and our families of origin. They also deserve our deepest thanks. And personally, I'm especially grateful for Susan and Amelia being behind me this whole time. 2 years ago, I arrived on campus expecting SOS faculty and classmates to be colleagues or collaborators, until I met people like Ashleen Forrest and Scott Cloutier, who cared for more than just my intellectual development. They treated me like family. And now I have this huge, crazy, happy, funny, loving family with Wrigley Hall as our home away from home. And parked in our garage, we have knowledge and tools ready to sustain us. Speaking of tools, have you ever heard the sound of a blacksmith's sledge striking an anvil? The anvil rings just like a bell, resolute, strong, and reverberating in the air. Friends, we are neither hammer nor anvil yet. Extracted from our parents' rich ore vein, smelted as red-hot alloy from the refining cauldron of our childhoods, we came through the door at ASU. And as ingots imbued with special, unique properties and qualities, we threw ourselves on the solar forge that is SOS. And then we laid ourselves across the anvil of academia and allowed the professorial blacksmiths to hit us repeatedly until we didn't recognize ourselves in the intellectual mirror. That's right, we're suffering from a traumatic brain injury. But TBI is good though, and I'll tell you why. The process has caused us to see ourselves differently and forced our brains to operate in a different way than before. First of all, it has prepared us to be shoved into other fires and shaped on other anvils with different hammers, until that thunking sound of the hammer on hot metal becomes the ring of finely crafted steel. And each time we return to the fire, we become more and more useful instruments. Consider a chef's knife being repeatedly heated, hammered, and quenched before it is finally honed into what it is meant to be. It's what I refer to as experienced metal alloy. Inanimate objects like knives have no choice about the process, the craftsman, the shop, or the user. And in the wrong hands, impurities can linger in the cauldron, ingots misshapen, blades broken by awkward hammer blows, or edges chipped by careless use. Graduates, on the other hand, had a choice and have many choices ahead. That's not to say we're without flaw at this point, but there are ways to work with the flaws. We can exercise the right of choice and engage our inner strengths to change the way the world works. not unemotional, ignorant, inert lumps of alloy. We are self-refining instruments, transformative beings. The path we take will determine the fires we embrace or shun, and the hammers and anvils that shape us further. But remember this. We went through all this with family, friends, and colleagues who cared about what we become. So when you're afraid and your edge might be a little blunted, or you feel your unique qualities are not quite enough, lean on those people as you face the fire, the anvil, or the hammer. Because we're all in this together. None of us gets out alive. But the quality of our time here is dependent on what we do with it. So when I hit the SOS anvil, some truths ring out for me, and I hope they do for you as well. And those are these. Life is a complex system, so remember to look at the whole picture before advocating for change. Everything, people, environment, and technology is connected. So changing one thing changes the other. And caring and inclusiveness are more useful and powerful than divisiveness and cruelty. Although inertia might be the current state, introducing the right change agent can change things rapidly. So I want to leave you, my fellow red-hot lumps of metal, some advice. Find fires that strengthen you and avoid those too hot or too cold. Metal tempered improperly can be brittle and weak. Early on, look for craftsmen who are deft with a hammer and have a solid anvil. Imprecise blows can warp and distort us. And after becoming instruments of change in the hands of those craftsmen, fire up your own forge and let's take our anvils of knowledge and hammers of compassion and change the world. So thank you.